Hi guys. I've just come on and there's already a thumbs up, and I'm just so thankful for this community. Today, and I think maybe last night when I was going to sleep or this morning when I was waking up, I was getting a little bit of a download around just my sharing here and saying, "Hey guys, it's MJ from I UNPLUG." And then sharing just a little more because I'm aware that there could be new people, and I am MJ, which stands for Molly Jane, because that is like randomly a question that I get. That's a question that I get from people. My name is Molly Jane, and my family growing up, like my nearest and dearest, my sister and my mom basically, and my dad would call me MJ. And so when it all these years later, when it came to publishing my book, I wanted my pen name to be MJ, not Molly. So that's how MJ. Thanks, you guys. You know that I buy everything like secondhand and eBay and stuff. So I have a charity shop actually, which I've applied to volunteer at because I feel like I want to actually give my time to the community. And I love that charity shop. It's like the only place I shop when I'm here in Linton. So I'm like looking at the hat being like, did I actually get it from this charity shop? It doesn't matter. So I basically want to do a little like intro of I'm MJ, short for Molly Jane, and I published a book at the end of 2016 called The Fearless Life Guide. And the Fearless Life Guide apparently is quite radical. Like to me, I'm just like, yeah, this is how I worked it out, and this is what I feel into. And all these years later, it's proving to be kind of like radical and like something, all this emotion. People, it's fascinating to me that it really is our emotions that we don't want to face, that we don't want to look at, that we're quite happy to go round and round in circles and talking about all the problems of the world. But when it comes to actually facing our own shame and our own pain and our own depression and our own stuff inside, we just want to keep pointing fingers. We just want to keep making it like, oh, could it just be someone else's issue, right? And it's not to say that we're not in a co-creative experience and there aren't, I want to say more like certain galactic forces. There's certain universal forces that we have been playing with and dancing with since forever, eternity. And that's, I think, a big part of the piece that we want to remember. We are eternal beings. We are infinite beings. And so it's only when we get fixated, when our little monkey mind, I've been having chats this morning, it's only when our little monkey mind gets fixated on the minutia of our existence, when it gets fixated on all the little things that we have to focus on, which of course would be part of the dominant control program of the system. It's like worry about all this stuff. Like, well, let's be honest, a big worry for lots of people is just basic survival. Like, just make sure you work yourself to the bone just so you have enough to eat and pay for rent, kind of thing. Although, you know, a lot of stuff that I throw out of my mouth is just like sweeping generalizations, right? You do. We all get distracted, right? That's why we keep showing up for one another. That's why I continue to share the way I do, because it literally shifts and morphs and changes from one day to the next. And in step 5 of the Fearless Life Guide, I talk about surrender knowing. And like, it's wild when you're like in this divinely guided path, because like I am aware that like it's my pen name on that book, and yet the lessons. And this is what happened. There's a quote by, I think, someone named Richard Bach, but I could be wrong. But the quote goes something like, "You teach best what you most need to learn." And I, having had these early spiritual awakenings, the way I came to teach yoga was not at all. Oh, I love you, Julie. Sleep well, my friend, if it's getting near your nighttime sleep time. So yeah, there's this expression, you teach best what you most need to learn. And obviously I talked to you guys about having had these spiritual awakenings. And the way I came to teaching yoga 10 years ago was not necessarily how most people conventionally come to teach yoga. I basically, hey, Wicked, you're reading the book. Woo, woo. So I it's been like straight up divinely guided, because I was in earnest, because I was like, once again, kind of depressive, suicidal, in an unhappy relationship. I was alone as well. I was in the UK just by myself, bottoming out, being like, what the actual F is happening? This is not how I thought my life would turn out. Having these like deep awarenesses of the oneness, of the unity of the chakra system, like before I started doing yoga. Hi, Clear Vibrations. How are you, Karen? And then I'm like rock bottoming out, and then I meet a yoga teacher, and I basically just started practicing yoga. It was like that. It was like, right. Who said it? Was it Emmett? One of you was like, it's ride or die. And that was like, it was like, basically do yoga every day or die. It was that kind of thing. So it was like, I just practiced yoga in earnest. And thanks, Kotuk. Oui, je sais, mon français. I don't know why I just said it's French. It's not French at all, but I feel un tuk, c'est quelque chose en français qu'on dit au Canada que on a. I'm over it. The French is gone. So let me find my way back to sharing about the sharing of life. You guys, could I just also make a note of how freaking awesome and wonderful you are? Oh yeah, thank you. Rereading the book. And then I was talking about you teach best, but you most need to learn. And like how I came to teach yoga was not like, I want to be a yoga teacher, so I'm going to go do a 200-hour TTC. No, it wasn't like that for me. It was like, my life is broken. I have this spiritual awareness, but I don't know how to fucking use it. And it was like, universe was going, like teach yoga. So I just like meditated and practiced yoga from books and like from my teacher Mohan. And then before I knew it, people were like, can you teach us yoga? And like, I literally was just being asked to teach yoga. And there wasn't some 200-hour standardized training, although that was becoming more popular. It was just like, you're bendy. You look like you could pull it off. Come teach yoga in our studio. And yeah, I went to India, and I went and did like some Ashtanga for a month, and I went to the Shivananda ashram, but all the kind of like standardization I never like bought into, because I'm like, how can you box in something like yoga? Yoga to me is like the practice of you connecting to the infinite. But okay, let's put some standardized boxes around it to make it monetizable, to make it systematizable, right? And I'm just like, classic. And there again, you get my like random like feminist background where, you know, I come away from the Catholic Church of having to worship men as priests to get to God. And then I go into the yoga tradition where I'm having to like kiss the feet of Patabi Joyce or his son Sharat, you know, because they're, I don't know, it's like this privilege around spirituality and yoga, and it's still a very kind of like male dominated thing. And then when I met Tara Stiles, I was like, there you go, there's a little bit more balance, because she basically just said like, you're allowed to be you, and the way you want to practice yoga is the way it's meant to come through you, and it's about ease and functionality, not like perfect form necessarily or perfect posing. So there's a lot less rigidity around it, thanks to more women practicing yoga and us as a collective having a little bit more balance when it comes to our spirituality, rather than dogma and austerity, where you have a few people who proclaim to have read all of the scriptures, thus they know better, thus they can dictate to everybody how you must reach the heavens of God. And then I'm like, but wait a minute, isn't it like there? Don't we reach it from within? OMG, you guys. So I am getting, let's just take a little breather here as I point to the heart. I have had the most phenomenal couple days with you guys generally, and some of you guys will know who you are, as far as like the interconnectivity and the reflections of like, there is some wild manifestation happening. And I'm talking like visions that I have, and then getting an email from one of you about a dream and being like, and it of course makes me cry. It makes me feel this intense like release, because I'm like, y'all shared a dream of a vision that I had. And then another one of you shared your meditation vision, like what came through in the meditation. And like the picture that you shared with me was like what was happening inside me whilst I was meditating yesterday. Plus, one of you who, hi magic people, plus the person who sent the email about the dream, I was like getting a heavy awareness of this person. It was almost like I could feel them, and then they could feel me, and then they sent the dream, and I'm like bawling my eyes out reading this message, going like, I've been here, I've seen that, we've done that. And I'm like, but it not like 2 days ago, not even since I've known this person. That was a vision that I had back in my like early 20s. Like I would have been 22 or 23 when I had those visions. And then all these years later, here I am. Hi guys. And then you, somehow we're all meeting each other, because there again, when we're not in control manipulation system, this is pretty cool as far as like, it's just like, again, like we're all just like random people in the world who I couldn't go along the kind of like the program of I'm supposed to just like not ask questions and just get a job and like make money and and there's nothing wrong with that. But there was something seriously wrong with that for me, because I had what I now call the spiritual awakenings, which lifted up all these veils. And I'll explain to you guys that it was a threefold spiritual awakening experience. One was a sunset where I knew intuitively that I was one with the sun in the sky, and it hit me and I started crying and I was just like, Two was the cosmic dream that I've talked about in the Rainbow Prophecy, where I had the green ray basically travel through the whole universe and then hit me in my chest, and then it pulled me up and it took me around the world. And so I knew at that point I had to travel. And then I end up, it's not by chance, I end up in England, where apparently we, in Glastonbury is like the heart chakra, the Avalon, the part of our human history, and also probably around the time that we cut off from the heart center. So this energetic vortex, this land is, and all of us are at different points of the land. And like I've talked about, me and Clear Vibrations doing retreats, one in Morocco and one in Kawi, it's that there are different energetic vortexes on the planet where we're all being guided to, because we have codes that we exchange and we pick up in these different vortexes. And I gotta say, another one is Bali, of course. Ley lines. Thank you, Charlene. I don't know a lot about that stuff consciously. This is stuff that just comes through, right? So we all have like, yeah, different placements. And this is where it's like, it's maybe a bit binary, is that sometimes it's great and it's great where we're meant to be. Other times we're where we need to be to do certain types of work, but it's not comfortable, it's not fun. It's like this whole life thing. It's like the fact that we're always going around in a circle, as it were, a cycle, an up and down, a rise and fall. It's like in the tarot, it's the wheel of fortune, you know? And I share this so humbly because I'm like, yeah, I'm having to really say straight up, like, 3 years ago, there was like this leap where I didn't even think it was at the time, but I was definitely at the top of my wheel. And I was like, yeah, let's just take a leap. Let's publish a book. Let's do online businesses. Sweet, easy, done, manifest. 3 years later, I'm like, and it's like literally almost to the time of year. It's like 3 years where I'm like just hitting the ground and kind of skidding out and going, okay. And then it's like, brush yourself off, put your feet on the ground, and then you're back, and you're like, okay, now where are we? And then it's based on the integrity of these shares. And I am such the fool, by the way. Like I'm an Aries for one, but like, because I'm intuitive, my whole life is like the Fool. 3 is a completion energy. Oh, and then magic people, you beautiful person. Hey, Golden Heart. Yes. You got the Fool card today. You're in good company, Karen. 3 is a completion number. I feel like there was one more piece to my awakening story. So I had the green dream. I had the sun, knowing the recognition of the unity self, one with the sun. Which, you know, again, looking back, I'm like, hella, that was pretty profound for a 19-year-old girl. And then the third one was like this acknowledging my intuition, was that the cosmic dream, and then like the sun recognition on the earth plane, cosmic dream of cosmos, and then And then it was right here in the present moment where I had an experience, probably not too dissimilar, but before I actually found Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, I had a kind of experience that he talks about, I think, in the preface in that book, The Power of Now, or the other one that he wrote called A New Earth, where he talks about some of his early awakenings in having this quite abstract but like very anchored experience from within the self. And that was when I remember it. I've still, and like you can tell, this is stuff going back like 18 years, 17, 18, almost 20 years. And it's vivid, like it was today, it's so vivid in my awareness. And I remember the place I was staying. I remember that my mom was visiting at the time in Vancouver. It was right before I got a really bad kidney infection. And I just remember lying there, and I think I'd had a bit of wine, probably some cannabis as well, in fairness, at that point, but maybe not, maybe just a bit of wine. And I just remember lying in bed, and like, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, my mom was there, but I was just lying there, and it was like an angel, the voice of an angel, or the voice of God, and or intuition. It was just like, I'm here. Like, and I was listening and I could hear it, and I was just like, whoa. And I heard my mom talk about shit like this, like listen to your voice, listen to your heart. And I'm like, yeah, mom, like whatever. And then there I am. And so basically from those threefold aspects of my own spiritual awakening way back then, those three things have been kind of guiding me. And that's part of the manifestation of the book, is that in a very simple sense, I'm somebody who unlocked her intuitive awareness. And in essence, my entire life path has been leading to writing this book, whereby whenever I denied my intuitive knowing, I would end up in toxic patterns. And that's the biggest piece, because when you look around at the world, a lot of us would appear to be in these shitty toxic patterns, whether we're open about it or not. And like, I've still got my own run-in, right? And that's why I share, because I want to be accountable, and I do want to choose this upliftment, evolutionary, unfolding, better feeling path, right? Not the other. But I can't seem to do it and not be completely honest with you guys about just like laugh and like just try to deal with life as an empath and somebody who just seems to like feel everything. And like yesterday, I spent hours just like crying, and I'm not saying that as a victim. I'm saying that as a fucking like, I just cleared so much stuff. And the blood and water, it's that we're actually, when we cry in a very conscious way, in a releasey way, I swear to God, like we are the alchemists. Like we're conscious in the light of our awareness, burning through cellular density, cellular pain from the collective. And like, that's why I wrote the book, because I swear to God, this is a divine collective agreement of how to shift the energy. So whether it's ours or not, at this point, it doesn't matter. If there's energy moving through us, we might as well be present with it and release it. And boy, oh boy, yesterday's clear out was really big. It was just like, let it go, let it go. And so much pain, so much like, and like you do, right? When it comes out of you, you're just like, and that's why when you really drop in, there's probably only a certain percentage of humans that can really actually resonate with what I'm saying, because most people just don't necessarily go that deep into their emotion. They have a bit of a cry and they're just like, okay, where I'm somebody who's like, whoa, what is this? Like, what is this? Whoa! Like, and again, I'm completely detached. So it's not like I'm in blame or attack. There's just these waves, right? And obviously we understand the waves. Otherwise we wouldn't resonate with each other. And it's like a clearing, because my body is transformed, my mind, my whole reality is shape-shifting, and it shifts fast. Things manifest really quickly, but especially around money, because there's so much control patterns around money. I swear to God, a lot of us are testing ourselves with that, because as the resources start coming in, we have to be responsible with that shit, mofo flow lovers, rather. Hey, magic people. I'm honored to have you here. I remember you. You messaged, you commented something that really resonated with me. Do you remember? It was recently. Like, oops, Daisy. Such a dork, you guys. I'm I'm gonna decline that call because that's it's none of your business, actually, right? Yes, magic people. So magic people posted posibly on my last video from yesterday about it was about oppression, and it was in addition to this piece that I'm it's uncomfortable, this privilege oppression stuff, because we're one of it, right? And like we've even the privileged, we've been oppressed as well. So there's like it's layered, you know, and it's subtle, which is why we don't want to be kind of calling people out necessarily, but we do. See, like, what paradox, what kind of advice is that? Don't, but do. Just don't, but do. That's great, MJ. Weird here. Hello. Weird here. Okay, great reflections, you guys, because this is all, it's all weird. It's all spinning out. This is all the spiritual awakening. People are like, manifestation. I'm like, that manifestation has taken me down this extraordinary path that I just was not expecting in a mental rational. But then this is why I share, because I'm aware of picking it apart as far as, oh, this whole matrix system was a big old scamola. None of it. And anyone still pretend like they're in overlays. Like they're just acting out patterns from ancestry without the awareness. We are weird, but in a really beautiful, bringing light and love to the world. Like it is a divine essence that we bring. It's just that our essence is actually what made people fear us. Like the lightness and the like, where we'd vibrate for ages on this planet. People were like, kill them, and then we're like, yeah, and now finally we're like, wait, we're not gonna die, we've evolved enough, and so now we're sharing, right? Manifestation is ugly, people. Aphrodite Rose, you gorgeous woman. Yeah, well, and I think and here's another, this is actually a bit of the book that I omitted. It's all great and painful. In the Fearless Life Guide, if I end up creating another edition, I might well add this bit, but there was specific reasons why my mother and I, my editor, we decided to omit this section. But here it is. You guys are getting a sneak peek of a section that never got put in the book, but it's called Desire, Test, Receive. And it's another, I guess, equation to manifestation, which I like me, you teach best what you most need to learn. I'm literally teaching myself through the book. Like, all the lessons in the book are now happening in my life. And I'm like, damn it, I wrote the fucking book. I have to practice this. Yeah. So but again, this bit was excluded, but this has really come back in, because but this is where we have an expanding and contracting cyclical energy. So energies that maybe were big cycles before are becoming smaller cycles. Energies that were maybe just these little cycles are becoming bigger cycles. And I don't know how that makes sense to us, but for some reason it makes sense to me. In as far as some of these new cycles that we're stepping into, it's like self-trust with manifesting is a huge one, and it's deep and it's multi-layered. Magic people, yeah, if you don't follow the intuition, it's the underbelly of that, which is why the toxic pattern tends to get worse and worse and worse until we pop out of it, until we're like, okay, I can't deal, which is often what we see in the human pain body, is that people, Julie and I, so we were just talking about this, about how trees in nature, when the season hits and the leaves are dying, they fall off. I mean, you can imagine that if the dead leaves hold on to the tree, then the energy of the leaves could actually corrupt, could almost become like a parasite on the tree. So we, like that, have to continue shed, but we've been taught by the matrix to fix ourselves, i.e. get a job, get married, and then just follow the rules. Now what's happening is that people have blindly followed those rules, and now we're at different stages in our lives going, whoa, what the fuck am I doing? Where, who are these people? What is this life? What is this job? Whatever, right? And we're like, oh my God. Okay, so On autopilot, right, for sure, that's massively what it is. Oh, you guys, there's so much coming through, and I've been feeling this now the last couple days. This is what I mean about the acceleration, is that, um oh yeah, bring me back. Desire, test, receive. What so there's always it's like the grand life of Wheel of Fortune, but recognize that every thought intention is a Wheel of Fortune. Every every inspired energetic upliftment is a thought projection of manifestation. And then so what happens is that we're going to go around the circle, the desire, the test, and the receiving. So and then that also relates to the ups and downs of life, is that okay, if you're going to ask, then you're going to have to bottom out, and you're going to have to clear out whatever could be holding you back. Self-hatred, self-loathing, all this shit that we've been collectively clearing out. This would tell me on a manifestation level that we're bottoming out to lift up to higher realms, is that we've, wherever we're going, we ain't been there before, not with this much integrity and not with this much awareness. Oh, magic people, girlfriend, but this is the thing of like this is relatively new, as in this is only, this community has really shown up in my reality in the last, like, since September is when Aluna shared one of my videos, and then there was an uptake, and then there was another uptake like a few months ago. And again, it's all been divine timing in the way that I've lived my life, in the way that I've been guided to show up. In a way, like the YouTubing, I've been doing this for years, but doing it as a career was still relatively new, as far as like, because I was teaching yoga full time for 10 years and having great success there. And my heart, it was just calling out, being like, because again, with a lot of the yoga, because of mainstream value systems, people come to yoga and they expect a certain thing. And so it's not that I don't love teaching yoga, because yoga, as you notice, I've set up some classes again, but yoga to me really does have to come from my heart, and I can't squeeze it into a monetary system. I don't want it to be my main source of income. Hence now working online and having clientele that I work with. And fortunately, I'm really lucky. Some of my high paying yoga clients are also my online coaching clients. So everything has been sort of fused and supported. Not to say there hasn't been a great amount of risk, and not to say there hasn't been a huge bottoming out of fear around finances. It's like every single fear I could possibly have around not having anything has made itself manifest totally out of my control. And I'm just like, okay, okay, fine. You want me to fucking be super abundant and high vibration even when the circumstances are not that? I'll do that. I'll vibe that. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, she's like a resource, I would say, for a lot of us, a connector point, right? Um and again, I think that's what's so fascinating about this, is that Anna, Anna, I have a few yoga videos, and it's so funny you say that, because when was it? Like a week ago, maybe? Like not long ago at all. I got inspired and I went live and I did like maybe a 20-minute flow, but in bed. So I'm like here and I'm just sharing with you guys like stuff that I do. Like I'll just do these little stretches because I sit here a lot. And then I don't know why I shared this too, but like yesterday I've been properly vibrating with the tiger's eye. I feel like this is helping us ground. And then my quartz is the clarifier. Selenite is the light bringer. And then like we're all gonna have different things that we use. These are just really symbolic. Like these are just symbols that I've manifested in my reality to anchor me into a broader vision, you know? I love tiger's eye. Yeah, Julie, I imagine you with that as well. Um oh right. Okay, so maybe it's a collective thing then. Watermelon tourmaline, that sounds really lovely. Emmett, um, you share. Oh, okay. So this is now we're bridging into some different sort of types of discussion, but this could be relevant to some of you. It's certainly, again, like relevant to some of you who I'm talking to. So different times we can often feel. Hey, Sarah. Yeah. Okay. So tiger's eye is relevant. Friggin' love. And I don't know what new might is either. Um, Going back to Amit's comment about the Atlantean crystal on my left shoulder, it's only just come up today, but I also have experience with this. It's energy healing, and it's when we can see the energy body or bodies and in the ethereal, and so there can come times in our physical movement through Earth, we start to open up our awareness of a broader aspect of self, which is when we sometimes get the visions of the triangular prisms, I want to say, or the Merkaba, or we start to feel a toroidal kind of energetic spin around us, or we see colors, we start to see colors around people. Uh, and and so when we open up, it's like bridging to higher consciousness. It's expanding into multidimensionality. And so you can imagine that when we open ourselves up like that, it's exciting and super fun, but at the same time, we become targets for other, like, so if you're opening up to the light in the lighter realms, then you can be seen and you can be technically targeted by some of the darker energies, which is still all yourself. But then there's a piece with the black hole sun. This is like a huge piece for me personally. The black hole in the central sun is also connected to our own black hole. We talk about a divine spark, there has to be an opposing force there. So our own black hole void is within the self. And ultimately, that's how we tune into and correct all of our false distortion. We have to go back to the void and then birth like the lightness. The awareness from the light has never been lost. We just disconnected from it, but we disconnected from the black hole as well. We connected. We just disconnected from our feelings. We disconnected from our feelings, and this has made us all just be like, and then it's like for a lot of us, I feel. Thank you for bringing it back, golden heart. Um, I feel we just lost our feelings, and I sometimes think of the movie Avatar. Those beings are highly evolved, right? They fly on dragons, and they feel. They see one another, they feel one another. We're that. We could fly on dragons, and well, we do to a certain degree. We just do it via enslavement and combustion, which is part of the Atlantean fire that Sasha Stone talks about in Spirituality Simplified, where this this enslavement combustion system has been around for some time. And although it would appear that it's at its worst on this in the spiritual realm, we've already won, which is part of like time is linearity is totally like out the door, right? Yeah. Oh well, and Julie, think about the sketch, the tree, the roots, the tree, the cosmos. We're all one. We're all connected. Like stuff that you guys are sharing with me are totally like in unity. So this is where I'm like, straight up, y'all, we're having telepathic communication. um okay, and then golden heart made me want to go back to Amit's idea of having contraptions, and I don't say it like in a fearful way, but I'll relate to you guys one of my healing experiences. So once I'd like bridged into metaphysical healing, and I kind of released 3D paradigm healing, and was starting to work on self responsibility and I want to say cellular convergence. So I'm really working in that realm, right? In higher consciousness and feeding my body with divine light filled elixir. I then start to meet other types of healers, and my own like healing journey expands because I was going yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and then into this energetic. So learning more about Merkaba, learning more about multidimensionality, learning more about source origin or cosmic origin, and then also like actually having a sense of connectivity to some of those origins, which really does help us to embody our galactic wisdom, which is helpful in these bridgy, shifty times on Earth. And the reason we resonate is because that's similar. We're all here for those similar sort of reasons, as far as like, we're just kind of here to remind humans, like, money, you are it. You're the power, you're the truth, you're the light, you're the way. It's you, it's in your heart. There is no one is outside of us, but that's been the program that we've sold our soul to. It's like heavy duties, right? Okay, golden heart. So Amit, and then the I'm talking energy healing here. So when I was guided to work with a couple healers at one point in my life when I was really diving in to this stuff, and I'd started writing the manuscript actually for the Fearless Life Guide, and I went and had this healing, and actually I shared it with one of you this morning, but um I could hear them talking, and I was just lying there, and I just opened up to like cosmic origins and like star seed and this sort of language. And these women started holding space, and then they were talking to me, and I was intuitively responding. I didn't know consciously necessarily, but intuitively it was all making sense to me. And and then suddenly they're like, yeah, you see it? You see it. Good. So they highlighted in my auric field, I had a, I had a, I had a lock. I had a, and again, this is a ethereal. It's, oh, that's my mom again. It was ethereal. So it wasn't like a 3D physical, you could see the clamp on my jaw. It was, oh, sorry, mom. I'm like in the middle of a show right now. I'm going to call you back. I obviously forgot. I was supposed to. Yeah, like for rizzles. Now you guys know my morning flow. I wake up at the crack of dawn, at the crack of Narnia, at the crack of Narnia. I have a little coffee. I do my meditation and tunage so that I can share the love vibrashe with you guys. And then usually before or after my share, I'll have a good chatteroonies with the old momsters. Because she's one of us, by the way, in case you didn't realize. Like, I'm the who I am because she's been gently guiding me among even in her own pain. Anywho, so Amit, you're the one. You're talking about this crystal contraption. So similarly, I had like contraptions in my aura. So I had a clamp like attached to my jaw, and they removed it, and you can imagine that my modality, my ability to communicate and my awareness of people pleasing tactics started to become more heightened. Because I didn't even know that I had this thing there, but these people found it. And then I had something else. Oh yeah, I had a clock. I had a clock in my aura, and then they got rid of that. And I swear to God, that was the biggest. That was like a big one, because we don't even realize how the many ways that we're kind of like deceiving ourselves, or like what we've put in our energy vortex that could potentially block us or da-da. And this isn't to scare you, and this isn't about MJ, how did you get that done? Do you mean the contraption on or off? I had a snake. I feel I've healed so much. Yeah, I find the serpent energy super healing as well, Sarah. And I had to do, so I did around the time that I was getting sexual awakenings and sexual activations, the serpent energy came in strong. And this is a weird piece, but I had to basically make friends with the snake, because I didn't even realize that I was actually like frightened off. Okay, I'll explain. I didn't even realize that I was like frightened of the serpent, i.e. frightened of my own sexuality, i.e. frightened of my own power. And so I had to do all this inner work to basically, one, remove an imposter snake. Again, weird stuff, but so be it. I had to remove this imposter snake that was like a false matriarch energy. Weird, I know. And then, but then I started working, which I've shared with you guys. I started working with the harmonic balance from the Magdalene manuscript of the dark serpent and the golden serpent. And I started working with it in as far as what people would probably call the Kundalini energy. But it's moving up the spine. So I usually see the two serpent energies, they move up the spine in like that. And every time they cross at the different chakra points. And then I usually see them converging and almost like kissing each other, or like having their mouths be like, ha, or just putting their heads, you know, where you put your head to head like that. And so the snakes come to the third eye, and then they put their heads together like that. And of course, the I want to say symbiotic, but like the energy then rises up, but then the actual energy coils back down, or like goes back down just to go back up. So there's this sort of recycling balanced energy, right? So um going back to Karen's question, like, how did you get it out then? So they remove it. And this is where you need the awareness of the subtle realms, or the awareness. Yeah. Um, and when we open ourselves up to different types of people and different aspects of our own awareness, which then can shine a light for it. When we're working with etheria, it's all happening in your awareness, and in essence what you do is use the light of your awareness to burn stuff up, in essence. So you don't just like remove it, because it could just go back. So like what the healers did was actually, like, I could feel them. They were actually like removing it, and I could feel the release off my jaw once they took it off. And then they just held it. And the few times that I've been guided to people to do healings where they have to like recall a memory of past life to integrate something in the here now, or just to have a greater awareness of part of their patterning, which does usually relate to some the kind of trauma that we experienced on another in another dimension, or on another timeline, or past life, whatever you want to call it. But we carry them with us, right? And it's part of why we have certain patterns. It's part of why we have to make connections with certain people, because those people are meant to help release us from the bondage of our past, right? And the weirdest is like the invisible stuff. Um, so and we are the omega. Interesting. Nice. The entire nervous system becomes God. Ooh, 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 yes. Going up, guys. I'm just reading. We may have an Atlantean crystal too. It's how they keep track of us. Ah. So this is a very difficult and kind of weird insight, and that's a huge part. Is like people, and I. This is I'm like, I'm not any wizard. Well, actually, we're all kind of wizards to a certain degree. Let's be honest, but around Atlantis, like, I'm aware that I feel part of the program is like making Atlantis into like this glory days. And it's not in my awareness. This is bizarre, and this might not resonate with everybody, but I never had my feet on the ground during the times of Atlantis, but I was around, I was witnessing, Atlantis was an enslavement system. Like, some of the people I've met in this timeline, they were like, they were doing work in crystal mines and stuff, but they were very much enslaved. And then Atlantis fell. Atlantis fell partly because it was distorted and corrupted and based on combustion. The Atlantean way was actually about raping the world of her resources, and making a facade of this sort of like really high vibrational imprint on our consciousness, which makes us stuck in the past. A lot of people are obsessed with Atlantis and obsessed with these ancient times, or the Lemurian. And of course, we are all bloodline. We're all connected to all that is. It's not denying these past civilizations, but I also am very much aware, just like I wouldn't want us to stay stuck in talking about 5D or 12D or 9D, because it's the here and now. This is why I like to talk about some of the relevant to me issues of our here now present global story. We talk about our economic system, we talk about privilege or oppression, and we talk about real here now aspects that our humanity is facing. Because the majority of humanity talking about the Arcturians, or talking about the Ninth Council, or da da da, isn't necessarily that relevant. We are a small community. The empathic and you could say highly attuned community. I'm not talking spiritual communities, because those are becoming more mainstream. I'm talking about people that are attuned to something rather unique. We're a very, very small percentage, and what is miraculous is that we are finding each other. We're able to communicate these ideas and trigger one another's awakenings and openings without even having to necessarily talk firsthand, just by sharing the information. Just and like you, and then you guys are here with me, but then you might not even realize how much your guys' presence and like the way you're guided, like you guys might be guided to send a donation. You guys are guided to send a little message to me. You might not even realize those messages trigger something in me. I might have a huge clearing, a huge release, and or like one of you just sending the message about the dream you had. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Like it's wild. It's really wild having been putting out this call for a while and then suddenly total strangers emailing me saying, I found you. I had a dream. I was guided to you. And I'm just like, what the actual, right? And then that makes me think like that's um that's how divine this is. And after the last 2 days and after the depths of depression that we've been swimming in for weeks, months, days, whatever, it's coming up. We're moving up. We're moving now into these truly, truly accelerated manifested times. And so the one thing that I'm getting in biofeedback with a lot of you guys is, and I'm getting this in my own meditation. So it's like our roots are now firmly fixed in the ground. Our cosmic connection is firmly anchored. So the unity is a vessel. It's the body itself, which is the middle point, right? It's the meeting point. It's the convergence point. We're moving through a cosmic galactic area of this solar system. That's all part of it. It's all in oneness. It's not, nothing is separate or compartmentalized. Nothing is efforted. We don't have to try to do anything. We already are that. The sharing and the biofeedback is just helping us to like anchor and stabilize, because that's a huge piece. I'm really getting this sense, like, and I would say we are all family. We are all connected. Our resonance fields, we know each other in a much broader sense than just this earth experience. And like in my visions, it's like I'm seeing us finally floating down to the actual ground. It's weird, right? But like more and more of us, it's like it's like one thing to sit in meditation, and then, but also like we're weirdly, I feel like for, I don't like this stuff sounds so weird, but like it feels like a lot of us, we've been floating around, floating. Like we've not wanted to be here. And every time we try to put our foot down, it's like, ah, we get ridiculed, or it's not what we think, or we end up in a shitty, shitty position and it all gets flipped upside down. And yet it's like, no, 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 it is working. Every little cycle that we've gone through has been teaching us more. It's been refining our awareness. It's been honing our skills. Even though they kind of elude us, even though we don't necessarily know still exactly where we're going, at least we have one another. Embodiment is such a process, and it does continue. Once we have more people that we can share this with, it gets easier though, but it doesn't end. Oh, nice, Amit. Amit just says, if I get depressed, I go straight to the crystal shop. I love that. Thank you. Oh, today and tonight. It's going to be very special in the loveliest of ways. Thanks for that. Makes me want to cry. um, Golden Heart. Yes, we have each other. And I think like that for me has been such a huge, that's kind of what's gotten me through. It's like all those years ago, yoga was my lifeline. Now, and not to put any pressure on you guys, but it's like this community is like a lifeline, you know? I know. Look, enjoy your bro pipes up. No, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't worry. Don't worry. I've really released a lot of tears these last 2 days, so I think I'm all cried out, to be honest. Oh, L de P height. I like that name. Thank you. Again, we all have our gifts. We all have our specialities when it comes to this stuff, and we're just helping each other reflect back. Anytime we're living in manifestation and reflection, it's like every reflection helps us to peel back layers. It's like a lot of us. It's like, oh, what is the title of the share? Hi, Michael. How are you? Fifth world. I really want to know more about gematria. I don't know, but like we basically, yes, we all have our gifts, and then that is the unifying. Once we're kind of aligned with our specific gifts of what shares of what's natural for us, then we can all line up. And it's so beautiful because we just love and accept one another. There's no judgment because we've expanded our mind to just be so total that we can't not accept people. And if anything, whenever we come up against our own stuff, we heal it and we transform it. You know, we take the time that we need to do the work that we need to do. To ADHD to do yoga. Girlfriend, Amit, you gotta try my yoga. Cause I do like flow quite kind of plus like I'm just myself what I choose. So I'm like, hey guys, move around, stretch about, move your body, you know, and people tend to laugh at me because they're like, is this yoga? And I'm like, yeah, it is. You're allowed to laugh and smile in your spiritual practice as well. It doesn't have to be serious. It's only yoga if it's serious, you guys. It's so not true. Gematrix, it's amazing, like a whole new language. I know, that's what I know it to be. And that's why I want to learn it because every time it pops up, and then I went in, I did a little bit of studying around it, and I'm like, rah, rah. Like there's just because it's is it Jewish or Hebrew or something? Because it's connected. It's connected to language and enslavement and codes. And also like elitist ruling class systems, but like we can outdo it basically. It's like using the same reflective system against the system, but like in unity and love for it. It's like I love the system, and like we want to take all the best bits and then recreate that, but in a sustainable, abundant way, so that it doesn't oppress people, which is totally fucking achievable. We're just the momentum's still going in that train of like it's just the way it is, can't change it, da, 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 war military complex, it's just da, 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 da. And then meanwhile a bunch of us have been dropping off that train and like slowly but surely building new communities and new world, but not new world order, new earth, you know, earth from the heart, the heaven, you know. And then all the people that are still on that like train eventually one day are all going to be like, oh look, oh look, there's a lovely shiny world over there. We'll be like, yeah, come on, let's play. That's my idealistic, lovely child dream. Ah, Charlene, I laugh in class and the teacher laughs. Good, 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 good. Isn't it? Isn't it wonderful? No, fifth world. I feel that, and I feel that in just the swing of all the polarity of like the reactions. Everything's like big and but also deep and low, and like like some of us have shared. This community has been like hit. We've been like hit and bombarded with this like depressing, like super exhausted head pressure, you know, and like this deep shit that we're like, oh, I thought I totally got done with that. And then I'm owning as well that like that when I took the leap in 2016, it was like weirdly the completion cycle leap to like previous cycles, and it was huge. And that these last few months has been actually a profound healing in depression or a deep rest from like my whole life. And so that gives us sort of an option to understand why we have these ebbs and flows, because it's never exactly what we think. I.e., I was thinking it's all normal, I'm just doing da 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 da, but really I was exhausting the old program of me having to chase the illusion, of me having to chase the dream. So I was literally running away from myself, chasing it unconsciously until I finally burnt out and couldn't go. And then spirit, i.e., oh, I'm depressed, and or spirit is like, you stop. Stop. And then life just shape shifts because you're surrendered to it, right? Oh, Lakshmi, Lakshmi, thank you so much, Chica. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so appreciative. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter, because like most of us our whole lives we would just, any of us just did any of it, even the 3D matrix stuff, we just did it to literally have community like this, to just have community of people that are like, hey, we love and appreciate you. And I'm like, I love and appreciate you. Yeah. Like, oh, great. You don't want to destroy me. That's fantastic. Exhausted from the old program, right? We're tired. And let's be honest, look around you. If you're in the hive, if you're in the program, if you're in a mainstream metropolis, look around you. People are exhausted. If they're not just exhausted, they're gray. They're they're so disconnected. It's actually like mind-boggling to me, like gray, exhausted. And I'm acutely aware that I that is the dissonance. That's the just the difference of energetic anchorings from one being to another. And what I'm picking up on is the disparity. I'm not judging it because I'm aware that those it's normal for a lot of those people that I can feel the layers of exhaustion, the stress, the insecurity, the self-doubt, the like confusion and chaos going on within a being. They're not aware. That's the difference as well. They're just like, what? This is life. Da, 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 da. And they're as present as they can be. It's just that we're we're hanging out on different wavelengths, my friends, than a lot of people. Fifth world, yeah, just I guess just share, but I'll have to kind of look over some of your um yeah, look over some of your stuff. 174. And magic people, you're in NYC, like a tipping point collective. So this is another resonance. Collective pressure point. I've been getting messages from one of you about this pressure. Have any of you guys been feeling pressure in your heads as well? This seems to be another wave symptom for people. But I feel the depression, the deep pressure, that pressure is a part of it. At the pressure point is building up. That really resonates with me as well. And their harvesting source has been removed, unaware that they were vampiric in the first place. Well, and again, once the core of the kind of narcissistic indoctrination energy, the divide and conquer tactic, the smoke and mirrors. Once all those veils continue to get released and removed, people will drop into their healed state and or will continue to heal. A lot of this stuff that we're, if you can imagine people kind of out front in different tiers, there's a dissemination of information happening, which can only happen via the channel once we're connected, aligned with the physical body and the intuition. That's the only way we can start to regenerate thought process. So the thought process starts to become whole again. The reason why a lot of people can't have conversations with us necessarily is because the wholeness triggers their ego, which then, because the ego is frightened of its death, which this sort of stuff will kill all egos, right? Because you can no longer use your external world to power, control, manipulate people. So the shift then is that we unify the field, which basically it creates, that's why we all have these dark nights of the soul, is that our egos are dying over and over again. Anything in our consciousness that is attached to a disempowered aspect externally is going to be removed, and this is just par for the course in this journey of awakening. We're not controlling it, it's happening to us, and yet we've chosen it, and so we are in union with it. We just, as a collective, and this is all light stuff, right? But sometimes I just think this is just about us being more compassionate and kind to ourselves so that we can break down, so that we can just be vulnerable and go, okay, the whole world is about to make a massive leap and change. Let's just get ready and be prepared to be shaken up a bit. And then we'll all come back, land on the ground, and figure out what to do from there. It's that we don't need to panic. We don't need to throw ourselves off into fear programs, but we do want to be relating in a more whole level and understanding that people's reactions are not our problem. People's reactions have to do, including my own. I'm just good at owning my reactions, but people's reactions usually have to do with their shit, their stuff. Magic people. Yeah, softness is a strength, right? And we all have different things to work on. And I agree with something. I think Harbinger said something about like being kind and da da da. And that's, I think the majority of us have been naturally like that. Like we've been people who want to bring the sunshine, who want to bring the smiles, who want to bring like good vibes. It's just at the same time, we can't destroy ourselves. And that was the paradox that I found, was like me always wanting to be a sunshine for people and thinking that that was like my duty damn near destroyed me and got me into some pretty sort of toxic situations. But that's to do with my own learning. It's not about the other people's stuff because they've got their own journey to live out, but it is about my ability to learn and grow and expand, right? Yeah, 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 harbinger, exactly. Yes, and this is what like responsibility and discernment, I love that word. It's such a powerful um capacity. It's that, well, let's be honest, give as much as you can give until you can't give, and then you just pull back and you top yourself up and you self-care and you self-love and you do all the things that you need to do, and then just keep showing up, you know? But um it's the feelings. It's the feelings. It's how we feel. If we're interfacing with another being and we're starting to feel drained and tired and they're like, "No, no," like da da da, then we need to pull back. We need to, because this is again, this is just somebody who has had abusive situations where people do lie to your face. And that's, I know people will laugh at me when I say that, but they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, I don't typically lie because I just don't see, I never felt good lying, right? I never, and it never worked out good either. It never turned out in my favor because I know, yeah, I just didn't like lying. And then, so as an adult and doing all this spiritual love light yoga stuff and assuming that people didn't want to lie or people would be practicing this stuff in earnest. And then, yeah, and then that's okay, right? Like the asleep will be awake while I'm around, and then when I leave, they go back to sleep. Yeah. Oh, and then that just made me think about something that I was thinking about. But this is part of like the non-judgment piece. Is like it's the blind leading the blind. It's like we're all waking up from this slumber, just like ah hi, are we here? Like so many of us have this hello, hi tree hugger, how are you? I love that we have a tree hugger here. This is amazing. Um, yeah, lying makes no sense once one begins to awaken, what magic people said, right? Because I'm like, we can all feel. Like you can feel people's shit, basically. So it's like, why are you lying to me? So you know, there's no point. I'm definitely massively feeling like telepathy in this community is happening. Angels. I just basically feel like we're angels, that's all. Harbinger, and like, OMG, I was actually saying that to one of you. I'm like, I want to be hugging more trees. And then I actually said to one of you guys, didn't I, about like the trees, the tree empaths. Julie is one of them. Like when you really feel the energy of nature and trees and plants, and then like spend more time with them, basically. So I'm super duper looking forward to it getting a bit warmer here. Um, and yeah, just being outside, being in nature, hugging some trees. I'm like, I definitely need some tree medicine. Sarah, I hug trees all the time. I'm like, oh, good. So we're all tree hugging hippies then. I'm like, I love us. I love us. So like I just get the tree energy from all y'all, regardless of I'm hugging trees over here, basically. Oh yeah, and then so going back, Golden Heart reminded me about going back to like the stuff, the invisible ethereal stuff that's hanging out in our aura or in our energy field, is that you can do scans perpetual. There again, we can have manipulation happening in our healing. Although we all need witnesses and we all need healers and coaches and blah, 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 blah. At the same time, I truly believe that once you know how to work with light and consciousness and awareness, you can pretty much heal anything. But it does require major focus. Hence why I still work with healers. And I still, if I'm guided to the doctor, I'll go to the doctor. Like I don't have, again, no polarity. There's no judgment around like modern medicine or plant medicine. Da, da, da. But what I'm aware of is that our dominant program in society has like shunned the plants. And I'm like, hey, that's not fair. There's validity, there's wholeness. I and many of us have experienced healing from things like mushrooms or cannabis. So it's like that's, if you want to propagate pharmaceutical drugs, then you gosh darn be propagating the plant medicine as well, because it's just as effective, if not more so, maybe. I don't know. We won't know until we try, will we? Arcturians. What's that? Oh, palm trees. They always talk back. That's what I mean. Because I was sharing this with one of you about, um, I see that, Anna, by the way, and I'm sure there's a small collective of us that might actually manifest a healing, like a rarely grassrootsy. I see it as like, slick, high vibrational, underfloor heating, all sustainable solar panels or whatever, like these tiny little eco homes or eco dome homes on a site where we can like do the yoga, pardon me, and then have ceremony, have plant medicine ceremonies, and like, but then also just like the day to day of like growing our own food and keeping the place clean and holding space for people who come to do who want who want the love heart healing vibrashe, right? Ah, tree hugger. That's so relevant because I'm bridging into that. Then the plant stuff is coming in as a huge piece because I feel like more of us are tuning into our like more expanded gifts, and then through our awareness of these expanded gifts, this is why and how we're communicating telepathically. Because whether or not because we're not necessarily doing it consciously yet, and that's why we're talking about it. Because what we're going to bridge into is us actually talking about it. We're actually talking about it, um, thus moving into it, if that makes sense. So we are unconsciously communicating telepathically. A harbinger, right when I read that, I'm like, I can see it. I'm like, you could do that. Do you do that? You could take people on little walks. You could teach them about different ethereal kingdoms or just like different tree medicine, as in tree love. Like when you love a tree, it loves you back. It gives you some wisdom there. Um, Interesting. Fifth mind. There is a fair amount of energy around, so that Julie's thing, trees. Um, this is making me feel like there's parts of the world where you guys are that are a little bit more, I'm hearing the word fractalized, but I don't know what that means exactly. Something to do with the hive. It's something to do just where you are. And again, it's not good or bad. It's perfect actually. But there is and not one of you who's not here, but I communicate with, there's like I'm hearing it's just an interference energy. But this is where discernment comes in, of like protect the self, be engaged to the best of our ability, but at the same time, yeah. And again, we're now leading the way to that because Clear and I have the Morocco and the Kawi. So 2 times a year, we definitely have the opportunity to meet up on beaches, have a boogie, do some yoga. Clear and I have both aligned with keeping them as cheap and cheerful as possible because we want all of us to be able to come along and make it happen. And I reckon it would just be simple, beautiful, like yoga every morning with myself, and then like maybe an activity like surfing or going for a walk, and then me and Clear would share holding space and talking about different healing modalities, and she would share a lot about like just different experiences, basically, right? The fairies. And this is the thing, I think that we're all connected to different like mythical, but they're not actually mythical. They're just they're just like they just vibrate in different dimensions, right? So the fairies is one of them. The elves, I'm a huge elf, you guys. I just know it. It's like the creatures, or sorry, what am I going to say? The beings that we res with from Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or Star Trek for that matter, are I think often like um yeah, it's like we are that. We have these superpowers, you could say. Hi, sweet Cece. Aloha. I love you. Yes, you see me, right? And then, oh my gee, Sarah. So yeah, so you guys feel the elf vibrashe over here, and I'm like, I have so many of my friends are um mermaids. Mermaids and fairies basically. And then of course like the hobbits. Like to me a lot of like amazing, again, I get kind of like, oh, my heart, I love humans. It's like there's a lot of humanity that I've met that I see as the hobbits. They're really pure, innocent, which is also where the ring and soul, man, you're just like, no, you stop that. You let the hobbits live free. So fucking weird, right? Oh, yeah, we all have these memories. That kind of resonates with me. Again, I was never like planted on the ground during Atlantis. I was watching. Hence part of the trauma wound, I feel anyway. This is also in my memory bank, but I watched it fall. Like I watched some of the chaos go down from the outer planes, and it was super duper sad and painful, and hence the call of like hearing the call of earth of like we need more light here, we need some teachings to come and help humanity continue to rise up and evolve, right? Clear, I so feel that. Interesting, yeah. See, this is what's nice, that we can share our interdimensional galactic experiences, our experiences of our inherent blueprints, which is also like almost like a melting pot of all of our lives experiences. I'm just reading up. I'm for some reason just seeing Golden Heart. I do like a good second breakfast. I'm like, tell me about it. I like second breakfasts, second nappings, or second sleep times. I'm like, so often I'll wake up at 2 and be back in bed by like 8:30. Like, oh, I'm exhausted. It doesn't ultimately matter. I don't think, in essence as well, past life isn't separate. It's just a running program. Hence why, and to me, past life recall is only necessary if we're trying to outwork something in the here now, that the here now behavior is connected to something from a past. And hence why some of our like underlying shitty relationships, those are karmic patterns, because we need to complete the karma. We need to learn the lesson and be like, ah, yes, okay, I've learned, thank you, karma done, and then you can move on. But you don't repeat it because you've already seen it, i.e. like sometimes we just do it unconsciously, but it's not until we actually see the memory or see the past life. See, I was getting loads of that yesterday, more shedding. And again, I don't even know if it's my past karma, my personal past life, or if it's a past life of a group of the collective. But again, really, dark historical stuff of oppression and violence, basically, really scary kind of stuff, right? Yeah, sweet CC. So this is also an awareness I have, and I have this from like people I've worked with that or like readers of the book who would like come along and book like a session maybe. And these were although age is nothing to do with it, but this specific person that I got this intuition about was, I talk about the karmic backlog, and I am fully aware that that doesn't necessarily res with everybody. Like not everybody is carrying, like I've worked with healers who claim to have been to earth like thousands of times. Personally, I only have recall of like 6 lives. But then that's also what people talk about, the star seeds. The star seeds aren't inherently earthlings. Like we don't dwell here by origin, you could say. Like a lot of us have origins in different universes and different just different galactic timelines is what I'm hearing. So our embodiment process here has been unique, and now as we continue to evolve ourselves, how we show up in this planet is really like how we're here to change it, basically. I love Julie's like green heart. I'm a fairy. I'm like, I know. See, Charlene. So I've been here like 500 times. So I've met healers and stuff who've mentioned this, like they're throwing out numbers like 400 or da da da, and I'm like, whoa. And I get 3 to 6 in my first past life, and then it works up to 6, where this is my seventh life. And I have every intention of this one being the one where I'm like, I don't know, like, oh my god, like again, because I feel like we're coming to the apex. I feel like we're coming to this point of manifesting that which we always came to manifest. Yeah, and exactly. So golden heart, thank you. And I don't go there. If it's relevant, it comes up. If it's not, it's not. We don't, because the main thing is the here now. If in the here now there's a past life memory, then it's relevant to the here now because you can see it, address it, look at it, be like, oh yeah, I don't need you program anymore. Or, oh yeah, I remember that past life memory. I'm going to harmonize it through the window of awareness and see it and claim it and own it so that I'm not a victim of it. That's the only reason to me we can sometimes have memories that relate to the here now, that help us clear the here now energy. But yeah, I'm similar. Like, it's the same, like, we don't need to keep going back. And that's something like we could keep going back to anything for that matter, any healer or any medicines or any foods or any whatevs. And then, we're just going around in circles. So really, and this, I guess this is where I'm coming from when I like to share this stuff, is that so often we come into these different circles and it's like, this is the way. And I really just don't think that. I'm like, we all have our complete unique path. We are all 100% our own masters. And anyone trying to tell us otherwise is playing a game. And I'm not here to blame other people. I'm just here to be like, guess what, guys? Guess what? I'm going to totally empower myself and let myself figure myself out. And I'm going to let all you guys do the same. And let's just exchange notes and be like, so who are you? Where did you in the universe come from? Like having these really wild and expansive ideas that we are healed. We are healed. Oh, see, it's true. It's true. You guys get that? And I'm like, the truth shall set you free. Thine is the kingdom. It's like the truth is our freedom, but the truth isn't outside of us. And the truth isn't something that can be spoken in words. It was somebody. Oh yeah, it was when I did a share about the flat earth, and it was just my gentle perspective about like how I see these different kind of factions of society breaking off and tribalizing. And it's like community and like just like us, like we're all allowed to just belong here and be here, and I'm going to be nice to you and kind to you, and and do my best for that and hold myself accountable to that, not like deny people. But yeah, hell's to the yizza. And that's what I got, was that somebody was like, oh, you should really research. And I'm like, well, I can research, but like in my awareness, I'm like, nothing is truth out there. And certainly my words are not truth. So no theory is ultimate truth. Nothing made manifest is ultimate truth. No word or thought or feeling is ultimate truth. Truth is like the unspeakable. Truth is like the divine mystery. And yeah, like, what did you say? It's just your own. Yes, but then when we share, this is me sharing my truth. And what I'm aware of is that one day I'll be like this, one day I'll be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then another day I might, like you guys are those of you who hang around, it's like, and I swear I'll be really like vulnerable, share with you, like after that couple days ago when I had the proper breakdown, like just like raging and then like and I couldn't even keep going because the waves were coming up so powerful. I basically had to end the video because I was just like, I literally pressed end and was just like, ah! Like huge waves and huge whales. And I was going through my own, like, I was thinking, oh, none of them are going to want to come back. Like one of you who actually sent the dream email, one of you sent the dream email, and then that hit me really hard because I was thinking like, these people, they're not going to want to talk, like all this weird shit of like me being who I am is going to make people hate me and want to either control me, or if they can't control me, they're just going to fuck off. They're just going to abandon me, right? And or reject me. So there's all these little programs that I'm outworking, and I'm like sharing them with you of being like, aren't we human? Aren't we human? I'm like, doesn't anyone else get this? I'm like, we're just humans, right? Fifth, girlfriend, no way. Don't share. You can't share too much. You're a presence. You're like a in the way, and all of us, we have these color codes. There's the blue, there's a diamond, like so, and this is just like how Intuition works, but um no, fifth world, you don't share too much. Please don't stop sharing unless you're guided to not share. Like you can stop sharing if you want to, but like it's all pieces of a puzzle. And again, whether you guys are sharing personally to me via email or WhatsApp, or we're sharing here and meeting up here, like things are speeding up in the most miraculous of ways. And we are communicating and working in higher and higher realms. And this is what's so powerful. We are anchoring. We are landing. My meditation yesterday was that. Like first the roots are getting proper rooted. So some of us, our roots are now like really permeating to the earth's soil. And then this is quite sci-fi vibes, but like I actually had a vision of like myself with probably about 6 other people, like almost like our bodies were like spaceships or something, or rockets, and we were like we were landing, like finally landing on the planet. And that sounds really weird, but it makes sense to me in my physical body. When I look at my whole past life, I was like running. I was just like running off all these programs, just running off all these programs. And like, I'm finally done. And I'm just like, oh, now what? So this is us being like, so what? What now, you guys? I've got this online business and I love my YouTube community and I just love you. You're all over the world. So I definitely, we're lining up, me and Clear, ways to make us all be able to meet up, which is also part of a co-creative manifestation, because people like me, John Beanie, we've been joking about like, let's meet up on a beach and have a party. That makes me think I have to reach out to John Beanie, by the way. But anywho, I feel like we're gonna close her there. I just ramble on, but I'm after the kind of peak and trough of this week and the sharing, I'm really feeling the benefit of the live shares with you guys. I feel like it's a really nice way to just meet up and talk, about stuff. I'm also aware that like if there's things that go deeper or that you want to noodle, I love to noodle over certain concepts and ideas, then feel free to email me privately, molly@altalove.com. And feel free, there's some of you actually who you may or may not be here now, but like there's other people who aren't necessarily on these live shares who do like privately message me and ask like, could you talk about this topic, or could you? So you guys can do that here, or you can email me privately. Magic people, language can be limiting. Interesting you say that, because that was a topic for my discussion with my mom yesterday, was that words are finite, right? Words are, so truth with a capital T could never be expressed in word. Word is limiting, compared to the ever-present awareness of all that is, like the blanket of existence against the infinite void. I mean, there's no words for that. Surely not. That's why we evolve beyond the word, because the telepathy is where it's at. Break out. You mean MJ? Yes. Oh my jeez, you guys. Ugh. I just like freaking love you guys, and I'm just so thankful. Multi-dimensional hugs for all. Virtual hug. Virtual hug. I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful. Thank you guys so much for the donations that have come through. Like, mega appreciation beyond. And all of it, the chats, the sharing, the sessions. I'm just so thankful. Even when things you don't know exactly what's happening, it's kind of like, that's okay. Nobody actually does. So we're good. Love you. There's some quartz energy and some tiger's eye energy for my loves. Have a great day, you guys. I'll see you probably around the same time tomorrow. Love you lots. Peace out.